So, happy Friday, sort of. Today, let's talk about what the market is doing and why Bitcoin dumped. There's more theories that are out about why it dumped, and I'm going to tell you what you should do about it. According to Wall Street Journal, I don't know who their source is, okay? This came out today. This was an article about SpaceX, okay? Everyone loves SpaceX, right? Loves space exploration, loves what Elon is doing with SpaceX. It's awesome to look at those launches. But within here, it talks about, I don't know why, it was just plugged in. I mean, this whole article had nothing at all to do with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, right? It was everything else about finances, revenue and all that stuff. In the very, 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 very last paragraph of this article, it almost seems like this Micah and Corey and Berber purposely snuck this in here, or someone told them to. All of a sudden, they just wrote that somehow 373 million that was acquired by SpaceX, 373 million worth of Bitcoin acquired in 2022 and 2021 has been written down, which means that it has been sold off this year. Now, since SpaceX is not a publicly traded company, they don't have to disclose this. Now, Elon did say before that SpaceX owns some Bitcoin. Did they really hold close to 400 million Bitcoin? Maybe. But why would they disclose that, right? There's no proof of this. And again, this whole article was fine all the way up until the very last point. Like, this was just snuck in there because these writers or whoever told them to put that there knew what this was going to do, right? Cause a whole lot of FUD. The thing is, a lot of you guys know, people are trying to verify this. No one has been able to. SpaceX has not actually come out and said, yes, this report is true. Elon has not come out and said this report is true. So no one really knows if this is true or not. But regardless, this looks like what caused the big panic sell-off this afternoon. But anyways, so that's reason number one. But there's also other reasons I believe at play that may be much scarier. Okay, so one of the things that's happening, and a lot of you guys have paid attention, is China is doing really bad right now. China, ever since a year ago, or maybe even more than that, has been really struggling. So recently, their central bank had to cut their interest rate. They also just did a stimulus injection, right? Their stock market is also tanking, and their largest property, let me scroll up. Their largest property developer, Evergrande, is filing for bankruptcy. They've been having problems since 2021. So it's been a couple of years. We went through kind of the same thing in 2008, 2009, right? With our mortgage debt crisis. But it seems like they're facing something much, much worse, right? So that is another reason why I think Bitcoin and markets have not been doing well, because there's fears about China's economic woes getting worse and worse and worse. They're actually in deflation right now. Not even disinflation, deflation. Their CPI is measuring in the negatives right now. That's not good. No country ever wants to truly go into deflation. And then, of course, you have massive liquidations too. Last night when I was looking at it, it was about 600 million in total liquidations. Now it's 1 billion. 1 billion. And it's for both sides too, because people are too greedy. It's not just on the long side, it's on the short side too. So bottom line is this. This is why Bitcoin dumped, right? It could be due to this story that just came out of nowhere from Wall Street Journal about SpaceX dumping all their Bitcoin. It could be because Evergrande all of a sudden filed for U.S. protection or bankruptcy protection. And it could also be due to the DXY, the dollar strength going up because other currencies are just looking weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker by the minute, right? So, I mean, it's just a lot of things. And of course, you can't ignore the massive liquidations, right? I mean, Bitcoin has been very non-volatile. In fact, volatility was at an all-time low. But here's the thing. Despite all this, right? Despite all the scariness, does that mean you should give up? Does that mean you should just dump it all and leave and never look back? Of course, the answer to that is no. CZ also chimed in on this. He's like, 4 years ago, okay? 4 years ago, back in 2019, when Bitcoin fell to $3,100, okay? Keep that in mind. So we're still way higher than that, okay? But when Bitcoin fell down to 3,100, then we had a pretty good recovery. We went all the way back up to 10,000 to even 14,000. And CZ at that time tweeted, slap yourself if you sold Bitcoin under 10,000, right? The funny thing is, shortly afterwards, Bitcoin did fall below 10,000 again, all the way down to, excuse me, 3,800. So it did happen again. But on a shorter time frame, right, anything goes. There could be other disasters, other macro factors, geopolitical stuff, very scary FUD that comes out, right? But when you zoom out, you realize, well, it all passes, okay? Bitcoin continues forward and ignores all and keeps chugging away and keeps going higher, right? So that's why they say, when in doubt, zoom out. Because during the time, it's scary, right? You just don't know what's going to happen day to day, week to week, month to month. But you know what's going to happen over long periods of time with Bitcoin, right? So despite the fact that it's looking a little scary now, know that, of course, we have gone through this before, and this will pass. It always does. And here's something else too. From a technical standpoint, a lot of you guys like to follow people that like to draw a lot of lines. If you break it down and look at some of the simple technical indicators, like RSI, which measures oversold or overbought levels for Bitcoin, Bitcoin on a daily chart is more oversold now, okay? Think about this for a second. Is more oversold now versus the FTX crash and versus when Bitcoin was at 15,000, that massive drop that happened, right? That's how oversold Bitcoin is right now with yesterday's drop. So from a technical standpoint, this is like screaming, buy, 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 buy.